Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Monday, September 19th, and the Waterdogs are your 2022 PLL champions of the world. Congratulations to the Aqua Pups on a great 11-9 win over the Chaos in yesterday's final. Great game to cap off another great season in the PLL. I'm Jordy from Barstool, and with me, making his trek back to New York after spending quite some time celebrating with the boys, with the dogs, is Doogs. Doogs, how we feeling today, brother?
Hungover, victories, after winning a championship, you might have, feeling a little bit under the weather. You might get a headache of some sorts, feel dehydrated. That's because that's what victory tastes like. Dogs on top, it feels great to be a champ. Never a doubt, not 1 second throughout the season did I think that they wouldn't win a championship. It's just you work all these years, 24 years of my life in the lacrosse game, hitting the wall, doing everything you got to do, recording podcasts during the week for this moment, for last night. Victory is sweet.
The boys and girls back home want to know, does victory, does it taste like a pack of Marlboro Reds, preferably smoked inside?
Cigs Inside. Yeah. I mean, when you win a championship, you get the right to smoke a cig inside. I posted it. I posted the video of us smoking. It seems like people got a little mad that a 24-year-old knew how to smoke a cigarette, setting a bad example for the kids. Hey, losers on Instagram. By the way, you're a loser ass kid who's 12 years old. He's gonna go to college one day, and he'll probably smoke a cigarette too. That's the tough reality of the situation.
And here's the thing. Listen, we're not saying that we're role models here, but I think that we can all agree smoking a cig is still 1,000 times cooler than vaping.
Oh,
say what you want about cigarette. They're fucking cool, dude. They're pretty sweet. Looks a whole lot cooler, dude, just ripping some heaters in the locker room. Then could you imagine if they were in there just hitting a vape? You'd be like, all right, you fucking nerds, get out of here. So Cigs Inside 2022, Mikey Slosher is the head of that movement. But yeah, dude, I mean, Waterdogs getting it done. It's like hard to talk about the Waterdogs. Like, oh yeah, they started off the season 0-3, and then they had this nice little like it's hard to kind of talk about that when you're also dealing with, you can take off the helmet for now. Anyone who's listening on the podcast and not watching on YouTube, Doogs had his Waterdogs helmet on for that whole intro. But yeah, it looks like you were kind of getting that Peyton Manning bright red forehead with how tight that was. But yeah, I mean, obviously, neither of these teams had a hot start to the season. Both these teams got hot at the right time, and it looks like the Waterdogs were just a little bit more sustainable. What did you think? Like, what were your reactions from the game? Some takeaways from the game, if you will.
It kind of played out exactly how I thought it would play out. So there was no real surprises for me. I think that the chippiness, I love the chippiness at the end of the thing. Me and you were together at the end of the first quarter when I got a little chippy. I love to see that, especially in a championship game. I said, like, these are Canadian on Canadians. We knew that coming in. And, I thought, like, would it be buddy, or would it be like a rivalry? Like, we might be looking at a new rivalry. Like, I have to look out the quote. Did you see what Josh Byrne said about Dylan Ward?
No, I did not.
So I'm going to pull this quote out, bad radio. But it basically, like, I don't think that there's any, like, I said that I think Wardo has a little bit of a real estate over the Chaos and Bandits players, and like it's kind of might be looking like that. Or maybe it was something about the Waterdogs. I think he said like the Waterdogs didn't wait. Yeah, here it is. Dylan Ward didn't beat us; we beat ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, in time, yes and no. I think that's a guy who is very salty about having both of his championship hopes this summer ripped away from him from Dylan Ward. We're going to get to more Dylan Ward in a little bit here because like there's not enough that we can say about this guy. I mean, what a summer he's had. What a career he's put together. I think Dylan Ward, one of the most underrated superstars in the game. And I think that this is probably a summer that he'll finally get talked about as much as he should. But yeah, I mean, there is like some truth to that. Like you look at, the chippiness in that game, like at any given moment, the at one point the Waterdogs were up by 4, and you famously put out on Twitter that this game was over, and then within like 90 seconds the Chaos had tied it up. It was an 11-9 final. Like at any given moment, the Chaos at the end of the game there, they were just one shot away from tying it up and going to overtime. And then a guy like Chase Frazier just kind of loses his cool a little bit. Doesn't exactly throw a punch. I guess more of like a little open palm swat to the skull. Still can't do that. And he takes a 2-minute non-releasable penalty with like just over 2.5 to play in the game. Probably would like to have that one back. No, I think that Dylan Ward did everything that he could to win that game for the Waterdogs. In the same regards, I feel like Blaze did everything that he could to win that game for the Chaos, and it just so happened that the Waterdogs came out on top of this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Waterdogs probably had the strategy listening to their owner, championship game, listening to the owner, Big Cat from virtual, like more shots on goal. Like the Waterdogs took more shots than the Chaos. I'm like, I don't know if that's a fact, but it seemed like it. Let me just make sure that's like real.
Yeah, I mean, what really I thought the turning point, because they were taking a lot of shots early, and it looked like Blaze was, I mean, he still had I think he had like 17 saves on the day, so like Blaze still got his numbers. But like the Waterdogs at the very beginning of that game, they like fired off like a few like really quick shots right away, and you thought, all right, like they're just going to try to pepper them, but all those shots, like a lot of them were just up high, and like it just wasn't like that. It's not a good game plan to go against Blaze. Like the more he gets to see the ball, the more that's just going up in transition the other way. It looked like as soon as they started to shoot low a little bit, that's when they got a few to drop. So it's not only that they were taking a lot of shots, but like after the first, like, I don't know, 11 or so minutes of the game, they finally realized, all right, maybe we shouldn't keep giving them popcorn up high.
No, yeah, that makes I totally agree. And then once, like, even when he could track it up high, and then like his butterfly technique, he's able to get low. I mean, it wasn't on Blaze. Really, I think it was just a good lacrosse game overall, and I think it was just the Waterdogs' year. I don't think it was. I don't really agree with Josh Burns' assessment of the we beat ourselves. I won't even go as far to say Dylan Ward beat you guys. I think the Waterdogs just beat the Chaos. It was a full team effort.
Well, dude, the number that really sticks out to prove that point, and this is real high school coach of me, but I know that you also appreciate this number as well. Exactly. You know exactly where I'm going with this one. You look at the ground ball differential, 43-28 in terms of the loosies for the Waterdogs in this game. Like that's, again, it can be as cliche as you want it to be. It can be high school coach. It can be whatever. When you get out ground ball like that, like that's just a team that, one, probably playing better, but two, like clearly just wants it a little bit more. And I think that's also where you got like some of that chippiness, like that intensity. Like you see Zach Currier going out there being a total fucking menace. Like I think a part of his game that really gets undersold is the fact that he like can be the biggest fucking prick out there in the world, but he's just like so good at every single aspect of lacrosse that like no one thinks of him as like a chippy player. It's like, because he's just like so fucking good. It's like you have to talk about how good he is, in transition. You have to talk about how good he is defensively. You have to talk about how good he is, his vision on offense and getting up ground balls. And like by the time that you're done, like tugging off Zach Currier for how fucking awesome he is at lacrosse, you never get around to talking about, oh yeah, and he's a menace out there who's gonna, like, while you're on the ground, give you a nice little, cross check to like the back of the knees. But that's like a part of the game that like it clearly he's like towing the line, but he's not going to cross the line. He's not going to put his team in jeopardy and like take some penalties. He's just going to make sure that he gets under the skin of the opponent. And I think that, we saw a lot of that play out in this game.
Yeah. And also like just who did you think? Did you think Sowers was the MVP yesterday? That's like something that I was going into it. I think he had it like the Sowers curse thing was a fun little to like, get the juices flowing a little bit. But like we said, as soon as like he was the difference in the championship, like them being a really good team to a championship team.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I would say that Sowers probably like, I would definitely call him the MVP of the Waterdogs season. Probably like the MVP of like the Waterdogs as like an organization right now, as a program, since it's college football season. As far I love Michael Sowers. I think he's a Philly guy. Like I like automatically have to love the shit out of him. I probably would have given the MVP to Dylan Ward yesterday, like if it was like solely up to me. I don't know if like the media voted on that or not. I wasn't. We managed to get ourselves down on the field for the end of the game there, so I don't know if I missed the media vote for game MVP at the in the press box at the end of the game. My vote would have been for Dylan Ward. Just quick little humble brag there as a big time press box boy.
Yeah, I would have voted Dylan Ward too, and I also just like so I wouldn't say that I get what you're saying. This doesn't make no sense, but like when you're talking about like where the Waterdogs are right now, MVP, but not even like the best season. Like if we're going best season, I think Kieran
McCardle. Yeah.
I had him as the attackman of the year. Like I think I voted for him to win attack. I think it all came out. I voted him to be my attackman of the year.
Yeah, I would still like of the regular season, I'd still give it to Lyle, but like I think that you can also make the case for McCardle very easily. And then like if you do, because I still don't know how the PLL wants it to be done, whether it's a regular season award or whether it's like a season like overall award where you can also take playoffs into consideration. If you can take playoffs into consideration, then yeah, like Kieran McCardle was absolutely the best offensive player in the league. But yeah, like what I'm like, it's like Michael Sowers is a player where you have him on your team and all of a sudden like your team just gets elevated into that next tier of like constant championship contenders where it's like you have like a top, I don't know where you want to put them, top 6-7 player in the world.
McCardle?
No. I was saying with Sowers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like you get one of those guys on your team. Like that's where I'm saying like if the Waterdogs didn't have Michael Sowers, like you don't really know how, like he's just a guy that elevates your team to being in that like you need a superstar to win, and he's that.
I wouldn't give him superstar status yet. I think he's in the superstar in the making.
Okay. I
might be too late on it. I mean, this just might be one of those things where I'm wrong on. I think that his playmaking ability, where he can draw slides, get the offense going, get the defense turning, is what makes him so special. But like, I think that to be in, I wouldn't say he's top 6 or 7 yet. I think he's top. I don't know.
I might be a little too high on him, and that could be Philly bias. You could be a little too low on him. Maybe he's somewhere in the middle there, where he's like right on the cusp of top 10. But I do think
he's fucking good. That's all I know.
Yeah. I mean, he's sick, but like that's the thing that we're like the way that he gets those slides and the way that he has to get the defense moving, where it's like he might not have, like he's gonna get numbers.
Exactly.
Like his numbers tell like half the story of like what he's doing for that offense.
I think we have to start. I mean, this isn't a hot take. Hockey assists, because even like I'd like to see how many hockey assists he's had this year. Second off is I think that the championship MVP should just be like how they do it, the Conn Smythe in hockey, where it's just like all playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. If it was all playoffs,
I'd go McCardle.
I'd also go McCardle on that one. I think because like you look at that first game in the playoffs, like the Atlas still hung 14, but the fact that Waterdogs were able to get to 19 and McCardle had a huge game there. You've got Rico behind you right now. I don't know if he needs you at the moment.
What do you want? Yeah. We got Rico Bosco on the pod. What, you want to say anything about the Waterdogs?
No, yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats to the Waterdogs.
What shirt is it?
It's the Eagles.
Vince Papali?
Nah, this is Bill Berge.
Oh, he must be, yeah. Well, listen, I mean, you guys made a movie about a special teams player, so that guy,
we made a movie about a fake boxer, so I think that the special teams guy is probably doing pretty well.
He gave a parade for a girl who went 2-2 in the League World Series.
Well,
that's Monet Davis.
well, also, but no, Monet Davis, she was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. That's a reason.
Okay, went 1-1. Did you happen to see? They only show highlights when it first started. You happen to see the second one?
She was on.
2 and 1/3. 5 minutes.
How many covers of Sports Illustrated were you on, Rico?
There's a lot of teams who go 2-2 in the Little World Series that didn't get a parade down Broad Street. I'm just saying. Start rewarding mediocrity. This is where it ends.
Monet Davis, probably the best women's lacrosse player of all time if she had a stick in her hand, by the way.
Good thing it's not Christmas. Good thing Santa won't be there tonight.
Waterdogs parade in Philly.
They should be. Speaking of that, also that's the Rico basketball experience. If you guys don't follow Rico all over, I'm doing if you guys are college football fans, I'm on the Pick'em Pod, keeping the records for Rico and those guys. So check that out on Wednesdays. That's what I'm doing.
That was great. That was my first interaction with Rico ever.
He's the funniest guy. I love busting his balls.
But were you about to? I think that you were about to say something about Philly being a Waterdogs town.
So two things. One, how loud they were for the Waterdogs and billing the chaos. It was definitely a Waterdogs town, Michael Sowers town. I mean, the Sowers, what the Sowers brought out to Philly was fucking hilarious. Every single person had the deepest Philly accent I've ever heard in my life. Like, I just wanted to be surrounded by his friends the entire night. Like fucking characters and a half. I think it must have been like Sabia's dad who was calling out Big Cat for not being there. And Big Cat was like, I fucking like love this guy's accent. Like the people in Philly, the Waterdogs parents, like everybody, just what a scene. What a scene. And I think that like literally like they should do the Waterdogs parade in Philly. Or they should just do it like down 7th Avenue in front of the Barstool office.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of those boys are actually making it to the and I also don't know what time or what day exactly this episode is going to come out on. But the Eagles do have Monday Night Football tonight. I know that some of those guys are going there. They should just have a quick little de facto parade throughout the parking lot of the Link during that tailgate. Yeah, dude. I mean, the crowd at this championship game. I mean, listen, as a Philly guy, pretty proud of the way that people showed out for that one. Obviously, the Sowers clan had a lot to do with that. I think that he said he brought somewhere near like 100 people. The Waterdogs tailgate was like it was noticeably larger than I saw. You know, a little couple groups of Chaos fans here, little groups of like Chaos, maybe like parents and family there. Seemed like pretty unorganized. Seemed pretty chaotic. Waterdogs, they did it right. They had a huge group of people tailgating. It seems like they were getting nice and liquored up early in the afternoon, so they definitely came into Subaru Park feeling some type of way, and that definitely added to the amplification of the crowd in that game. Yeah, you could hear it from start to finish. I don't know how it turned out on the broadcast, but you could definitely hear it from start to finish, like a heavy Waterdogs favored crowd, where the point where they even like a noticeable boo to the Chaos as they were running out onto the field for the first time.
When we were at the post-game party, I asked one Big J question. We were just in natural flow of conversation. It was just like, what was the difference between this season and last season? And they said team chemistry. And I totally believe that. I mean, if you're looking at probably the top 2 teams chemistry wise, locker rooms close knit, you could like really see it with them. I mean, I was also thinking maybe like the Whip Snakes, but they had like a great regular season, so these would all check out. But yeah, you could definitely see that the team chemistry and like how tight the group was.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a bunch of I don't know, because
it was ridiculous that they let me.
No, but like I'm trying to think of like because I just never really noticed the Waterdogs having like a clear cut identity of like what their team is about. And I think that like yesterday was one of those ones that proved it, where they are a bunch of dogs, like just a bunch of guys who are just going to kind of grind it out, get the job done, and then rip some heaters in the locker room afterwards. So yeah, I mean, I think obviously a huge win for the Waterdogs, just because pretty fucking sweet to get a championship. There are only 3 teams in the league who have been able to do that so far. But I think probably pretty good for that group of guys to then have like that identity be like their thing moving forward, especially because I'm pretty sure like almost all of them are still signed through next season. So they'll just be running back pretty much the entire same roster.
Here, McCardle's going to get a bag. Ryan Conrad really came on in the playoffs, I think, especially the last 2 games. So like just carrying that into next year really should be a difference maker for the Dogs. And like, yeah, I just what an outstanding job by Copeland.
Ryan Conrad and Connor Kelly, both kind of like similar in my eyes, where like overlooked because of like you think about Connor Kelly and like wearing the 1 at Maryland, and then like as soon as he leaves, then it's like you've got Bernhardt and Wisnauskas taking over it. So like when you're thinking about like, like the guys at Maryland, it's like you think about Bernhardt, Wisnauskas, and then Connor Kelly's kind of put on the back burner. Kind of same thing with like Ryan Conrad, where it's like one of the biggest parts of like getting that Virginia program to where they are today, but he just like gets overlooked because then you go with like the Matt Moores and the Connor Schellenbergers. So like when you think about those Virginia, like, I don't know, it seems like the Waterdogs do have like quite a few of those guys who like maybe just a little bit like, I don't know if underrated's the word. I don't know if overlooks the word, but like something about them just seems like almost like a little forgotten, a little put to the side. And then I think that kind of adds on to like why they're just so like, just a bunch of gritty dudes getting the job done.
Villanova basketball. I said it once, I said it again. Villanova basketball, where it's maybe not a superstar, but a great team. All work together. One fluid motion of a machinery that gets everything to work into a factory.
Just a cog in the wheel.
Nobody's as articulate as me.
Doogs, I'll tell you what, it's impressive how articulate you are being, because I know, I mean, not only did you have a nice little celebration in the locker room, met up with the boy, enjoyed, some of the post-game celebration at the bar. Then you also had quite the excursion to get back to New York last night.
Philly.
Well, especially getting out of Philly and one specific part of Philly.
I was buzzing. And then we went to the bar for a drink. The Waterdogs weren't there yet. It was like 8 o'clock, 8:15. So Billy was like, all right, I got to go make this recording. We really have to leave. And I was like, all right, I get that. You just got in trouble with the pod, whatever. We go to leave. The freaking the parking garage we're in, it took us 2.5 hours to get out of because it was Mexican Independence Day. So Billy was like, you just like go down and like go get some videos for us. And I was like, okay. I went down. He comes down after like 20 minutes. He's like, it's not moving. He like parks, he like leaves his car. We go back in 20 minutes. It's like, it hasn't moved. It's fucking ridiculous. We didn't get home till like 12:30 at night. It was a great time. Loved how we got to celebrate with the guys. Big Cat gave a donation to them to get drinks. It was a wonderful evening. I'm sure that they didn't get any sleep. I'm sure they probably are just waking up right now as we're recording at 4 p.m. Probably got a good 4 hours, probably but yeah, I think that I'm happy for the Dogs. Dog fan for life. I mean, it couldn't have worked out better. I wish that it happened over Labor Day. I know I keep saying that, but like it would have been cool to have like the Big Cat, PFT, them there to like hold the trophy and shit. It would have been sick. So I guess what I'm basically saying is the Waterdogs have to repeat for the next 3 years.
Yeah, and I mean, again, they've got a whole bunch of their guys still signed through the next couple, so definitely a chance to do that. I will say though, without having the main core of ownership in the building, you did get to be ownership representatives, you along with Billy. So you got to get your hands on the championship trophy. How heavy is that thing?
For a guy with my strength, you really can't tell. It's like almost felt like a feather. No, but it was good metal. Tasted sweet. Tasted just like you expected, like Marlboro Reds. But it wasn't like, it was actually lighter than I thought it would be. But it was sick. I mean, it was a really cool experience overall. I mean,
yeah.
It was I felt bad. One of the guys we know from the PLL, he stops me at the locker room. And he's like, no media is allowed to get in. Like, no media is allowed to get in. And Jack Hanna's like, no, like he can come. Like, we're saying it. He's like, I got to get confirmation. In the way that I have to get social clips, and I was like, I kind of know that like it's gonna be okay. So the guy was like, you can't go in. And I was like, I'm going in. And I just walked right into the holding the phone. I felt really bad. And I was like, sorry, man. Like,
but at that point you weren't media, you were ownership. You were a representative of ownership. So no media allowed in. Well, guess what? Yeah, I'm not media anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's respecting the shield of journalism right there. You wouldn't go in with your media pass. That's a big move from you. So credit to Doogs on that one. Trying to think, yeah, I mean, don't really have much more to say about the game. I mean, it was an awesome game. Looked a little bit dicey there in the beginning. Chaos went on a nice little run to start. Waterdogs went on a nice little run of their own. Chaos bring it back. Waterdogs get it done in the end. Like just a good classic, exciting back and forth lacrosse game that had some sick goals, a lot of greasiness to it, some great goaltending, 30 saves between both teams. So credit to Blaze and Wardo for that one. Trying to think, just some other closing remarks on the day, at least. Like great to see a lot of the Lax fam out there. So guys like all the fellas at the Rise Up Pod, Dan Arestia, Newbie Talks from PLL Bets, pretty much everyone with the PLL social. So great to see, these events that bring everyone together are always pretty cool. Just seeing, everybody in the lacrosse world, and then obviously the fans as well.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't like people think that. I don't know if people think this, but like, yeah, I like the Rise Up Pod is a great podcast with Scotty, Greg, and Danny Seibel. Give them a follow. Like, just like it's just great to like be surrounded by people that like we all have like one common, like, not cause, because it's like the game of lacrosse, but like we all love the game. We all want the game to grow as big as it can get, and we're all on the same team. So it's just great to like chop it up with them, see what their thoughts on the game are and stuff, and like drink a couple of beers with them. It was great. And then like I just thought I was really impressed with the Phillies crowd, especially for an NFL Sunday. I mean, I guarantee that not having the Birds on Sunday helped that crowd a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah, great game all around. Great season for the PLL. The league keeps doing great things, only expecting bigger things in the future. As for the pod right now, obviously, we're going to take some time off. I think that the boys have earned a little bit of time off. We'll be checking in here and there. Like there's probably going to end up being some news to talk about with, maybe college fall ball, maybe, I don't know, there'll probably be like NLL expansion at some point. Obviously the championship series in I always forget when that is. It's
we also, like, I was thinking about this is like, I really want to help out or like do our YouTube stuff like that. So like, someone transfers or there's a small bit of news, maybe we'll just do like a 10-minute quick video, maybe bring someone on like Dan or something to get other point of views or perspectives on the things. Maybe get Dan on to break down what free agency is like. Cause I DM'd him and I was like, Dan, what the fuck is free agency in PLL? Like, how is this going to work out? So maybe getting someone like him on to explain that, maybe get someone from the NLL world to break down what's going on in box lacrosse. There's things out there. We just won't probably have a consistent episode every single like Wednesday or whatever or every Friday like we normally do. So we'll be doing stuff. We'll be we'll be doing it. Just don't expect it to be on a regular schedule, but that makes it even more important, since you can't just expect it to be on a regular schedule, that you are following us, that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Crease Dive. Make sure that you're, subscribed to the podcast. So we'll have stuff here and there. Hopefully, maybe use the off season to bring back a couple familiar faces for a couple roundtable discussions. Who knows what'll happen in the next couple months, but we'll definitely get some stuff out there. One last thing, just a quick thank you to everybody who has been listening and following along all season, not just the PLL season, but dating all the way back to the start of the college season. You guys are awesome. So, really appreciate everyone who listens. Definitely a cool experience to hear about people who are listening to what we're saying. Always reminds me that, fuck, I'm an idiot. And like, now I have all this ammo for people out there to say, yeah, you were wrong about that one. So, Jordy was wrong about the championship game. Doogs was right. But yeah, thanks to everybody for listening along all season. Yeah, really, you guys are the only reason I keep this going. And yeah, me and Jordy were just even talking about it yesterday. Just like, we do think that like nobody listens to this podcast. I spew my thoughts just like unfiltered. You guys know how I like to throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. And just seeing you guys come up to us and just makes it all worth the while. And yeah, just again, thank you, Jordy, for letting me be on your pod. And I know how hard you've worked on this pod throughout the years, killing it with the lacrosse stuff, the blogs and everything. So even he'll have the blogs going. But yeah, 2 years ago, I've said it before, 2 years ago, I was doing this just for the love of the sport. And now being on this podcast, it's a dream. So thank you guys.
All right. And also thanks to Jared Newman for not killing my co-host at the very beginning of the season. It would have been a tough one to do the season solo.
Yes. And goalie challenges, I'm going to try to do them in the off season when the PLL players aren't as busy.
All right. Well, everybody, I hope you guys enjoy the season. I hope you guys enjoy a little bit of a break from lacrosse. It's been a while since we've had one. So in the meantime, we'll be keeping it low to high until the day we die. We out.